Welcome to the channel and my Saturday morning coffee talk to you, my friends, where we will make a final call on the melee main for the War Within. And before you tell me, Gyro, you already talked to us about the class choices and other kind of stuff. Listen, things change. We continue playing, the thoughts evolve. And yes, before you ask, there will be also a subsequent video from me, especially if this one is anyhow interesting to you, my friends, where I will talk to you about my ranged main choice, because of course I'll play more than these characters. First of all, let's address the elephant in the room of the fact that I play tanks. I do play tanks. I still advocate for any melee player who is considering to dedicate substantial amount of time into one character as opposed to straight away go very shallow and broad, so to speak, not deep into one character. If you want to dedicate some time into a character, it absolutely makes sense picking, if not Druid, let's say, as an obvious choice of something that can do everything, then something that can at least tank. At least tank. I still stand strong on that, not gonna hammer that thought. This is one thing that I did say plenty of times, okay? And I still believe that that should be your choice. Blizzard said that they are going to be trying to elevate the gameplay for healers, and as they elevate the gameplay for healers, they want to take away full 100% self-sustainability of the tanks. Essentially, they're nerfing us. They're nerfing the tanks, which is bad news all around for tanks, bad news all around for people who are not tanks. Hear me out. Why is it bad news? It's only good news for healers. It's only good news for healers. It's bad news for everyone else, because fewer tanks are going to want to be the leader of the group and take the risk of leading the group through not very familiar environments if they cannot self-sustain fully, or at least feel like they're really a force that can be, that can go ahead and not wait for a healer, or if the healer is quite honestly slacking. And in more often than not, in uncoordinated pickup groups, raids, everything else, healers often suck. I'm sorry, if healers often suck, I see it left and right, you see it left and right. Okay, in raids and LFI it doesn't matter and it's less obvious because there are larger numbers of people, so people can slack occasionally, right? But in a 5-man, forget it. Forget it, especially in the new environments. What else are we hearing? We're hearing that they are simply just generally making the environments more challenging, aka more fun. It's a separate rant for another time whether or not you think that dealing with a more challenging environment in a theme park really is fun. I don't know, there is very specific niche for that. If I wanted more difficult content, I would have pushed Mythic Plus. I don't, okay? So generally, all around, not to rant too long about it, nerfs to the tanks are not a great idea. Some healers are gonna have fun because they have a little more gameplay to it. Okay, fair enough, yeah. But DPS are going to wait for their tanks in the queues for much longer. Tanks are not going to have as much fun and as much motivation to play tanks, and so on and so forth. Enough said. With that being said, I still prefer, until proven otherwise, I still prefer to be a tank. And I still prefer to be a tank with some form of self-healing. Okay, well, let's talk about Monk here in this particular case. Monk, in my opinion, I played it a little bit, and before the video gets too long, I'm gonna say to you, I am discarding Monk from my list. Yes, it's a great class. It's way too complex still. I played it now through Radiant Echoes. I played it through Mist of Pandaria. I played it now recently. I haven't pushed challenging content, but it's beside the point. I've done LFA, like that kind of stuff. I'm simply not defending this position, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm simply not enjoying Monk as much as I wanted to enjoy Monk. Alright, well, let's keep talking about the Warrior then. Warrior is amazing. Simply, plain and simple, amazing. Spoiler alert, Warrior is the top 2 of my choice, so he's gonna be standing here for a while. If you would like me to switch on the other one, I can talk about someone else right now. But Warrior is an impenetrable wall, and they're both self-healing as well as deflecting the most amount of damage, simply not letting the most amount of damage come in. Even with the nerfs, I think Warriors are still gonna stay strong. So for the War Within, where I want to go delving, yeah, that's also my subjective personal sort of aspiration, where I'm gonna go delving, I think, without knowing much about it, if I had to place a blind bet, which is exactly what I'm doing here this morning while having this little coffee with you, my friends. There is coffee, by the way, in this. I basically think that Warrior is still a very, very strong contender. Definitely stays on my screen front and center right now. Druid, Druid is gorgeous, lovely, amazing. I have a werebear form as well, which I worked hard to get. There is an emotional satisfaction from him. Druids are, mwah, I freaking love druids. But I played my werebear and I love that look. I love that look. It makes me look like, you know, tattooed bear and stuff like that. I love the look. I love the feel of it. Yeah, everything is good about it. I'm not saying bears are suddenly bad. I'm not. Am I gonna play it? Yeah, just not in the first two. And the also, you know what I found missing? For me personally, I found missing the gear, the shoulders, the armor. It's like it just became not enough for me at some point to not see any weapon, to not see any other effect other than that lovely trinket that occasionally turns you into other random kind of ghosty sort of greenish looking other forms. Do you know the trinket that I'm talking about? I have it proccing on me periodically in one of the LFR runs. Hopefully I will edit it in. If I don't, just use your imagination, okay? There is one trinket that does it. But again, it's not your permanent look like these, for example, plated guys are standing there on the left. It just is not doing it for me. I know it sounds silly or maybe shallow, but at the same time, these are the reasons why Zulu Bear is not going to be among my top, but he is going to be very close to the top. Demon Hunter, the main reason for Demon Hunter to be here and even being mentioned as a real contender for a melee choice of the main, for me, is the fact that Demon Hunters in Vengeance spec specifically have an unparalleled, in my opinion, mobility. And yes, I know other classes such as Warrior also have mobility, but they have this practically not double jump, double leap that they do, Infernal Strike, that they do all the time. And I find this element of mobility, being able to reach ledges, being able to traverse the unknown terrain. Once again, we're talking about unknown territory we're going into the war within, my friends. Plus double jump, plus gliding, plus that kind of stuff. Of course, it all adds up. That is the main reason why I score Demon Hunters actually rather high. Additionally to that, they are rather easy to play. I would go back to the Monk that I discarded straight away. Like, compared to Monk, my god, there is just nothing to do here. You just keep the spikes up for the melee damage, keep your Immolation Aura, and keep leaping around. It's great. I think that Demon Hunter somehow doesn't do it for me, because the choice of races for Demon Hunters is only elves. I appreciate the whole thing with the lore and everything, but as Blizzard said, gameplay over lore and over any other BS, and I think they need to bring it back. By now, Legion has been a long time ago. Initially, I accept the fact that they were elves, but now they taught others to be Demon Hunters. How about that? Yeah, they taught them. And in this particular case, guys and girls, I would love a Demon Hunter who is either a Draenei or a Lightforged Draenei. If you're one of my subscribers for a long time, you know that these are my favorite races. Anyway, as soon as Demon Hunters can be Draenei, I think you will hear a lot more from me and a lot more warm stuff as far as perception is concerned. Right now, as shallow, as stupid as it might sound to you, this is the reason why I am not going to play a Demon Hunter. Warriors are unparalleled in tanking. I would dare say, and I'm gonna give them a slight edge over Paladins in tanking even. I find Paladins very enjoyable all around, but I would give a slight edge up to the Warriors. Warriors are better than Paladins at purely tanking. However, getting to the crux of it, unfortunately I somehow don't feel the melee specs of the Warrior as well as I can say I feel Retribution Paladin. Okay? Hey, Blood Death Knights are absolute kings of absorption, absolute kings of specifically leeching the life back out of enemies, and everyone is praising them as far as Mythic Plus is concerned from the latest data that I have, but I wouldn't pretend to be an expert and know better. They look great, they play quite great, they have their own massive, very, very dedicated fan base, and through the expansion of Lich King, that was now years and years ago, it was my main. Believe it or not, I did not switch away from this main. I know it's unusual for me for a very long time. So why not? Why not the main? Listen, it's very hard. This is where it gets quite emotional because I have a Draenei. He looks very, very similar to, say, Paladin. He looks great. He looks fantastic. I love Death Knights. Like I said, enough said. It's not an excuse, but I find them a little slow. and while they can leech life out of others, similar self-healing mechanic to demon hunters. Demon hunters need to get soul fragments in order to be healed by soul fragments, and blood death knights need to be in the middle of the battle to leech the life slightly better than demon hunters do, I must add, from the enemies, but they do not have a heal on demand. I feel that unless you get something like blood tap or rune tap, I forgot what the name of the spell is because I never take it. Unless you take something like this, simply if there is an environmental damage happening around you, especially AoE damage, and you are simply standing there with no targets to do a death strike against or to do something else, one of the numerous abilities that we have to leech the life back, you're kind of dying. That alone is why Death Knight cannot be my main in the War Within. So all in all, even if the warrior will survive a lot more than a paladin will survive in a dungeon as a unhealed tank, that's at least my bet for now, for the time being, going into the War Within, not knowing much else about the expansion or further balance of classes or how they play. We're gonna find out soon enough, won't we? I do believe that all round the Retribution Paladin is such a brain-dead, wonderful, super fun, very easy to enjoy melee spec and very easy to be better, to be good with. Remember how in the previous video I said that, say, a Windwalker Monk is very easy to be good with, even if you just face rolling, really, more or less. Yeah, it's easy to pump out good DPS and kind of have fun in the process, but it's too busy, too many buttons, blah 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 blah. Retribution is just right. There is nothing like Retribution. Nothing like Retribution. You know, there is nothing like Retribution, not even Havoc Demon Hunters. Please don't get me started. Somehow I find them a bit too hectic. So Retribution is at the right level. Havoc is way too high for me. And Windwalker is too busy somewhere here on the side. If we were even comparing melee capabilities like DPS capabilities, I'm in love lately with Retribution. Retribution is great. In addition to that, tanking on a paladin has always been wonderful, always been very enjoyable. And even if, like I said, they will survive a little less than a protection warrior will, I still believe that overall, my friends, Retribution Paladin and Protection Paladin are going to be my main specs, and this guy Vyrax is going to be my main going into the War Within as far as melee choice is concerned. Now is your chance to talk to me in the comments down below. Tell me if any of this resonated, and what I want to once again highlight to you. There's no right and wrong. Play what you like. Maybe you play Beastmaster Hunter, and whatever I said to you right now, well, Beastmaster Hunter doesn't belong here because they're ranged, but whatever I said to you here may be even just a counter logic to yours that will only reinforce your own choice. I'm cool with that. If I helped you reinforce your own choice, that you listen to me and you're like, yep, I hear him, but none of this resonates. Great. We go off the negative here. You're still getting a positive outcome because you could cross-check with something that's definitely not yours. Enjoyed it? Had a little drink with me this morning? It's coffee, it's not drink. I hope you did. Please give the video a like. Takes you only 1 second, takes me longer, but very pleasurable time to put together these videos for you. Keep subscribed. Let's talk about my choice of the ranged main. Similar logic. I will similarly talk to you over a coffee, hopefully next weekend. And we can talk about what makes me choose my ranged. Spoiler alert, choice of a ranged is going to be harder than choice of a melee for me. Because melee for me has to be a tank, blah 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 blah, what I talked to you about today. With ranged, oh my god, there is so much to consider. Spellcasters, pet or not pet, pluses and minuses to both. Evoker with the capability of amazing healing versus no healing. It's going to be a much more complex matrix to take a look at as far as the choice is concerned. Anyway, stay tuned. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Have a great day wherever you are. Goodbye for now.